Karen Wallace believed in control. Her life was a meticulously curated board game where every move was calculated. Her penthouse overlooking the Manhattan skyline, her high-profile job as a marketing executive, her designer wardrobe, they were all testaments to her mastery over her own world. But that morning, a crack had appeared in her perfectly constructed facade. A major client she had spent months courting had just pulled out. "We've decided to go in a different direction, Karen." The cold voice on the phone had echoed in her ears. Wounded and irritable, she walked into a CLA, one of the city's most exclusive boutiques. It was an exercise in retail therapy, an attempt to soothe the bitter sting of failure with a lavish purchase. The boutique was an oasis of calm, polished marble floors, the scent of leather and expensive perfume, and soft, ambient lighting. But inside Karen, a storm was raging. And that's when she saw the girl. The girl's name was Amara. She was about 16, dressed in simple jeans and a hoodie, with a cascade of curly hair framing her face. She stood before a glass counter displaying a collection of silk scarves, her eyes wide with pure, unadulterated wonder. She was mesmerized by a particular scarf, a swirl of royal blue and gold, her fingers gently grazing the cool glass as if admiring a masterpiece in a museum. Karen scoffed internally. "What is a girl like that doing in here?" she thought, her mind already tainted by the day's frustrations. She probably can't even afford a single thread of that scarf. Karen's own professional failure needed a target, and this unassuming girl became the focal point of her displaced anger. Karen was trying on a diamond tennis bracelet. A sales associate had just clasped it onto her wrist, where it sparkled under the soft lights. Just then, her phone buzzed again. Her boss. Karen stepped aside, her face a mask of annoyance. During the heated, 5-minute conversation, she unconsciously unclasped the bracelet and set it on the counter beside her handbag. When the call ended, her mood was even fouler. She reached for the bracelet, but it wasn't there. A jolt of panic shot through her. She rummaged through her bag, her heart hammering against her ribs. In her haste, she couldn't find it. Her eyes darted around the store and landed back on Amara. The girl was still looking at the scarf, but now she was slowly drifting towards the exit. Karen's mind, clouded by prejudice and anxiety, leaped to a conclusion. She took it. Karen didn't hesitate. She strode across the boutique, her heels clicking ominously on the marble floor, and blocked Amara's path. Her voice was ice. "Stop right there." Amara flinched, startled. Her large, expressive eyes widened in confusion. Karen pointed a manicured finger at her. "Where is my bracelet? I know you took it." The serene atmosphere of the boutique shattered. Heads turned. The other shoppers and staff froze, their gazes fixed on the unfolding drama. Amara's face paled. I don't know what you're talking about," she stammered. "I haven't taken anything. Don't lie to me." Karen's voice rose, sharp and accusatory. "I saw you lurking around. I know your type. You come into expensive stores like this, looking for an opportunity." Tears welled in Amara's eyes. Humiliation and fear constricted her throat. "Please, believe me," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "I was just looking for a scarf for my mom's birthday. I've been saving up for it." But Karen was deaf to her pleas. She turned to the store manager, a timid man named Mr. Harrison. "Well, are you just going to stand there? Search her. Call the police." Mr. Harrison, not wanting to antagonize a wealthy client like Karen, hesitantly approached Amara. "Miss," he said softly, "if you would just cooperate, just show us what's in your bag, and we can clear this all up." Amara's world tilted. She could feel the weight of their collective suspicion pressing down on her, branding her a criminal. Her sense of self, her dignity, was dissolving under their stares. Shaking, she slid her backpack off her shoulder and emptied its contents onto the counter. A sketchbook, a few pencils, a worn copy of a novel, and a small wallet tumbled out. Inside the wallet were a few crumpled dollar bills and some change, her savings. There was no bracelet. For a moment, a stunned silence descended upon the boutique. Karen's triumphant expression faltered slightly, but she doubled down. She must have hidden it somewhere else. I'm telling you, she's a thief. Amara couldn't take it anymore. Sobbing, she pulled out her phone and dialed a number. Dad, she whispered, her voice breaking. Can you please come? I'm at the Eclat boutique. Something terrible has happened. Karen sneered. What, calling your daddy to bail you out? Let's see what he can do. 10 minutes later, the glass doors of Eclat swung open. A tall, impeccably dressed man with an air of quiet authority stepped inside. He wore a perfectly tailored suit, and his eyes, though filled with concern, were calm and composed. The moment Mr. Harrison saw him, the color drained from his face. Dr. Sterling, he exclaimed, nearly tripping over himself. Sir, what a surprise. Is everything all right? Dr. Sterling didn't spare him a glance. He walked straight to Amara and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Amara, what's wrong, sweetheart? Amara fell into his arms, crying, and gestured weakly towards Karen. Dr. Sterling turned to face Karen, his gaze steady and piercing. Ma'am, he said, his voice even, my daughter is in distress. Would you care to explain what happened here? Still blinded by her arrogance, Karen stated confidently, your daughter stole a very expensive diamond bracelet from me. I demand that you call the police. Dr. Sterling paused for a beat. Then, he delivered the words that would shatter Karen's world. Ma'am, he said, his voice low but resonant. My name is Dr. David Sterling. I am the founder of the Sterling Heart Foundation. And this girl, whom you've just publicly branded a thief, is my daughter, Amara Sterling. The air left Karen's lungs. Dr. David Sterling, the world-renowned cardiac surgeon and philanthropist whose foundation her company was desperately trying to partner with. That partnership was her last chance to save her career. She had been trying to get a meeting with him for 2 weeks. And today she had just accused his daughter of being a common criminal. Her face went ashen. She felt as if she were sinking in ice-cold water. At that exact moment, Karen's phone rang. As she reached into her handbag to retrieve it, her fingers brushed against something hard and cool, snagged in the lining. She pulled it out. It was her diamond bracelet. The boutique was deathly quiet. The bracelet lay in Karen's palm, glittering under the lights, a brilliant, sparkling symbol of her own ugly prejudice. Time seemed to stop. She looked up at Dr. Sterling. There was no anger in his eyes, only a profound and weary disappointment. It was a look that pierced Karen's soul far more deeply than any rage could have. I'm so sorry, Karen stammered, her voice a hollow whisper. Dr. Sterling, I didn't realize. I've been under so much pressure. My job. Dr. Sterling held up a hand, silencing her. His voice, when he spoke, was still calm, but it held the strength of tempered steel. Ma'am, he began, your pressure is not an excuse for prejudice. When you looked at my daughter, you didn't see a young girl looking for a gift for her mother. You saw a stereotype that exists only in your mind. You judged her by her clothes and the color of her skin. You denied her her humanity. He turned to Amara, who was still quietly crying into his shoulder. He gently wiped her tears with a handkerchief from his pocket. Then he addressed the manager. Mr. Harrison, my daughter fancies this blue scarf. Please have it wrapped. He placed a black credit card on the counter. He looked back at Karen one last time. Your apology is irrelevant to me, ma'am. The person you harmed was my daughter. And the damage you've done today cannot be undone with a simple sorry. You didn't just take her dignity in this moment. You tried to take her faith in the world. He added, you sought a business partnership with me. My foundation is built on the principles of empathy, respect, and equality. Today, you have shown me that you value none of those things. There will be no partnership. The words were the final nail in the coffin of her career. But in that moment, she had lost something far more valuable, her self-respect. Dr. Sterling took the bag with the scarf, put his arm around Amara, and guided her out of the boutique. They walked out with their heads held high, a portrait of quiet strength and grace. Karen was left standing alone, the object of scornful glares from everyone in the store. Her expensive clothes, her social standing, it all meant nothing. She had made the most profound mistake of her life. In the searing crucible of her humiliation, she finally understood the real source of her ugliness. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a poison that lived deep within her. The weeks that followed were a painful journey of self-discovery. She lost her job. But more importantly, she found the courage to look at herself in the mirror and was horrified by what she saw. She decided to change. Not to win back a contract or reclaim her status, but simply to become a better human being. She enrolled in diversity and inclusion workshops. She volunteered at organizations fighting for social justice. She started reading, listening, and learning. Months later, at a charity art auction, she saw them again, Dr. Sterling and Amara. Amara was smiling, her artwork on display, a painting of a city skyline after a storm, with a brilliant rainbow arcing across the sky, a symbol of resilience and hope. Karen took a deep breath and walked towards them. Her heart was pounding, but her intentions were pure. She stood before them and said softly, Dr. Sterling, Amara, I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness, but I needed to say again that I am deeply and truly sorry for what I did. There is no excuse. I was wrong. She looked at Amara. You are incredibly talented. Your painting is beautiful. I hope you never let anyone dim the light inside you. Amara looked at her father. Dr. Sterling gave a slight, compassionate nod. He looked at Karen and said, Ms. Wallace, regret is an anchor that keeps you in the past. Change is a sail that moves you forward. Always choose the sail. Karen nodded, tears of gratitude in her eyes. She hadn't earned their forgiveness, but she had found a path to forgiving herself. And that was the greatest motivation of all. She turned and walked away, not back to her old life of control, but toward a new one guided by compassion.